of getting a BTO in 2026, this video breaks down standard versus plus versus prime HDB flats, including profit calculations, limitations involved. Now find out which flat type actually makes financial sense for you. Now, our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong once said that they transfer the wealth through Singapore housing. But to be honest, I just feel that this angpao criteria are getting more and more stringent, and I feel that they have reached an extent that they may not be suitable for everyone. Now, let me share my points on this shortly. As of now, everybody already knows that HDB BTOs are classified into 3 different categories: standard, plus, and prime. Now, based on my understandings, standard flats are the general type of BTO. You might get one close to the MRT if you get lucky. While plus flats can be those very near to MRT, amenities, or even city centre. Lastly, prime flats, as what it meant, right smack in the central locations. Now, let's look at what the key features for these 3 different categories. Now, firstly, it is the MOP. We have MOP of 5, 10, and 10 years respectively. There is a subsidy recovery for the plus and prime flat at 6% and 12% respectively. Now, all of this allow you to rent out rooms even during the MOP period, but only standard flats are able to rent out the whole unit, while plus and prime can never rent out the whole unit during or after the MOP. Next time, when you are looking for a buyer, there is no ceiling income for a standard flat, while there is an income ceiling for plus and prime flat at a maximum of 14,000. Additionally, the buyer who buys your flat will also need to fulfill a 10-year MOP and cannot rent out the whole unit. After understanding the whole picture of these categories of flats, let's dive deeper to see what the potential issues are. All the conditions, to be honest, is quite acceptable, except that you need to take note of 2 potential issues for people who buy plus or prime flats. Number 1 will be this 14,000 income ceiling, because even for your future buyers, they need to fulfill this, whereby if their income is higher than 14,000, then they are not eligible to buy your flat. With a total of income of 14,000 based on MSR, the maximum loan they can get is 839,000. If we work backwards, the purchase price is approximately 1.118 million. Now, to be honest, at this point, I want to say that our government is very smart because they use this valuation and this income ceiling to control the price. So, in my opinion, those who want higher prices probably need to expect property downgraders, or perhaps those who are richer to give you a better price, because this is their maximum loan. So any higher amount, it must be paid via CPF or cash. Now, number 2 will be this MOP of 10 years. Based on my experience, there are a lot of changes taken place in the 4 to 5 years because kids grow up and you might need a bigger space, but you can only take action 10 years later, even if you have the money to upgrade. However, at the 10-year mark, the whole market may shift again. By then, the things that you were probably able to achieve at the 5-year mark may be not achievable at the 10-year mark. Finally, we look at the numbers only to see if it makes sense to you or not. I have obtained these numbers from the HDB website. Let me add a disclaimer. This number are exclusive of inflations, market changes, interest rate, accrued interest. It is based on starting from price, which I believe is starting from level 2 onwards, excluding grants, and resale price is based on the numbers given by the HDB. As mentioned, I removed the grant side because not everyone can take the grant. Of course, it will be a bonus if you can take the grant. So I'm assuming numbers based on no grants versus the lower selling price and what HDB puts as the selling price based on the current market. Now, ching-chang! Here's the graph. Okay, so first, I calculated the subsidy recovery at 6% for plus and 12% for prime. I then used the lowest transacted price minus the purchase price and subsidy recovery amount to get the estimated profit. From the way I see, if a 3-room standard flat is selling at 167,000 or 199,000 after a 5-year MOP versus 311,400 and $167 and $640 for the others, even if I use this 311,400 and divide it by 2, it is 155,700 for 5 years. So in this case, the standard flat looks more worthwhile. How about a 4-room flat? This one. The standard is a clear winner because standard is already giving like something 200 over, for 5 years, but Plus and Prime are getting at 200,000 or almost 344,000. If you divide by 2, it's just going to be 172,000. So 5 years versus 5 years profit, I think it's a clear winner. But of course, I want to disclaim, please don't assume that your house will double for another 5 years for those who are holding standard flats, because valuation controls it. Okay, how about factoring the rental in to make a comparison? Assuming the same scenario where owners holding standard scheme flats are renting it out for 5 years, while Plus and Prime owners rent out rooms where both are staying for 5 years and renting for 5 years, which I believe is a fair comparison. Now today, the average market of a 2-room is 2,500, a 3-room at 3,000, and a 4-room at 3,500. For Plus and Prime, I just use one common room at 1,500, which could be a bit lower because I'm giving a very optimistic number, since there are other factors like furnishing or staying with a landlord that result in a lower rental. Okay, so after I do the problem sum and everything, after you add up the profit, to me it looks very similar. Though the 4-room in Plus seems to have more, but after all, Plus and Prime do have a lot of constraints. Yeah. Okay, to summarize, the profit gain is very similar for standard Plus and Prime flats. But for Plus and Prime, you must take note that you also do enjoy the convenience, but it's a trade-off because the moment you buy it comes with constraint that you do not actually know how your future buyer will react to. And with the MOP of 10 years, you really need to see if it is suitable for you or not, because a lot of things might change in those 10 years and you need to work out your plan knowing that you can't encash until the 10-year mark. I hope this video helps you better to choose the right flat for you. Remember to like and subscribe.